Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and Iron here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, Rovi, and Mscribe. And today we're going to be talking about AI agents. We're back.
You keep saying that every time we talk about AI agents.
Yeah.
Why, dude?
We're not.
Do you think we've gone somewhere?
Well, I mean, AI agents and the numbers went up for a while, and then they went down.
I see.
And we're going to talk about it again so we can get the numbers to go back up.
Yeah, we want the numbers to go back up, right? Because we appreciate the tech.
We do. We use the tech.
We do use the tech quite a bit, but apparently we're using it in a very not efficient way. According to one of the projects we're going to talk about here pretty soon, it's
correct.
There's actually a better way to leverage AI than having so much manual interfaces and different applications, right? You can just bring it all home into one single prompt.
Yeah, instead of prompting, you have the AI agents essentially figure it out.
Yeah, that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
Ever since we talked about, remember 2 years ago after ChatGPT, there was the first inklings of an agent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember.
Not crypto AI agent.
Yeah.
We're talking it was in a command line interface.
Yeah, we installed it locally on this laptop.
Yeah. And even then, we knew it's dude, this is going to be something huge.
Yeah.
Right?
It would just keep getting stuck in a doom loop.
Yeah, it sucked pretty bad back then.
Yeah.
But that was only 2 years ago, just about.
Yeah.
Tremendous progress since then, right? So, but yeah, as always, we're interested in that intersection between, this very promising, very disruptive technology and what is this going to do to crypto?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah, so we've talked about this particular individual, 0x Jeff. He's really good.
He's good. He's a good content creator, dude.
Yeah, he's really good.
There's still some useful humans out there.
Yeah, right? Surprising.
Time is limited, though.
Yeah, so AI agent trends. Again, as usual, we definitely recommend you guys read through this thread because it's pretty deep. But there is a shift to focus for DeFi AI, decentralized finance, artificial intelligence. And the claim here is that as cool as that idea was, it was half-baked. And we need a better contextual understanding for the AI agent so that when you tell it, say, go trade my Solana tokens for this base, this obscure base token. And because, you see an opportunity. The agent is supposed to know that inherently and understand what to do and just go and execute it. And so, but when you type that prompt in, it just never executed it properly. And so that's the claim here. And then, so that's the focus for this particular section, and they're improving it.
Right.
And so there's other sections here, and for example, multimodal, multi-channel agentic interface, and he goes through different virtuals, continues to champion #1 spot in AI Agent Hub, goes through the trends that are happening right now in AI. So again, definitely read this. He talks about BitTensor, and Eliza and all these other things, and goes pretty deep. Yeah,
it's definitely headed in the direction we expected it to, right? Where there's a much heavier emphasis on the doing aspect, right?
Yeah.
We want agents that actually do useful things on our behalf now, whether that's making good and predictive calls on a sport, like a game, right?
Yeah.
It's you know what? I anticipate that the Lakers will beat the Rockets.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know.
Because of LeBron.
Yeah, I'm imagining there's a little bit more complex, calculations there. But apparently, whatever goes into it, it has a reasonably impressive track record where it's competing, amongst professionals that do this for a living. So that's good.
Yeah,
right. That's useful to us, and this could be applied in a lot of different verticals.
Yeah. So yeah, outcomes of games, gambling, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
All right, so next one here we're going to talk about is auto.fund. So when you launch an auto fund, every trade boosts your runway. Creators can claim a portion of the trading fees, capital on hand for you, and your holders know you don't need to sell your supply to keep the lights on. So this was a trend that we talked about in a past video recently, last week.
I think we're going to keep talking about this. This is how we anticipate the future, at least moving forward, right? Again, a heavier emphasis on creator sustainability.
Yeah.
Right. We're seeing that Pumped Out Fund is now with their Pump Swap is redirecting some of the trading activity to token deployers. This is happening on Clinker, on Banker, on Flaunch. Like, it's a new thing, right? And to see AI 16Z and like the AI agent space kind of like fall in line with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it meets our expectations, right?
Yeah, this is a very important trend to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Funding creators is like one of the things that have been largely ignored in this cycle so far.
Yeah, so a reversion back to that is a good thing. It's like it's going to be an overall net gain. It's going to increase the probability of like some actual substance creation beyond just like, speculation.
Mm-hmm.
Because, if in order to like iterate perpetually like new, products of value, you need, some means to sustain that level of, effort, because it's not easy to build stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It's not easy to iterate and experiment and whatever, right? XYZ. So it's good. Hopefully we see more of that. But that was from AI 16Z. So I think in 2 weeks or so, they say that platform will be live.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty fast.
Yeah, but it's just a matter of, platform or not, the AI agents, they need to be more performant, right? They need to be doing more complex things, more interesting stuff. Like, I think the chatbot era is behind us, right?
Yeah, so more performant is apt for what we're going to talk about next. So earlier we were saying that AI hasn't been exactly the most efficient, and so here comes AI Wayfinder. So, for example, at your request, Wayfinder reviews your portfolio of tokens. It then identifies available yields across all networks, taking into account bridging costs, finds opportunities for better yield, and optimizes for this and presents you with some potential changes. For illustration, here's a video. If you're satisfied, it will execute the change across your entire portfolio with a prompt. So this is internal development, but this video here shows you an example of having an AI look at your portfolio and optimize it.
Yeah, and it works, which is the big thing, right? Because this is what we said, that DeFi AI basically is headed towards like a state where your average typical crypto user doesn't have to really like know where everything is, right? That's the complexity that crypto has like brought to the world. We have over 100, maybe over 1,000 chains at this point. L1, L2, L3s, maybe even some L4s out there.
L0s?
Yeah. There's a lot of L's. There's just a lot, right? A lot of wallets to keep tabs of, a lot of bridges. I mean, it's intimidating, and there's no way like the average human on Earth is going to want to have to like deal with that degree
trying
of
to understand what to do
just to get like some kind of like reliable yield at the end of the day, right? This is a big problem. This has been a big problem in the crypto space for years now, and the big thesis was AI was going to come in and eventually help solve some of these issues, and I think Wayfinder is like, as far as we've seen, ahead of the pack, right?
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look a little bit deeper. So AI Wayfinder is building what they're building is, it doesn't just solve crypto's user pain point. Think about how Uber won, not by being flashy, but by turning a 20-minute cab hustle into 2 taps. Yesterday, I literally spent hours figuring out which chain plus coin had the best yield. AI Wayfinder just automates that. Portfolio-aware, cross-chain, gas-efficient suggestions in seconds. Everyone in crypto should be paying attention. This is the edge. And so referencing the video here. All right, so what does it look like? So join the closed alpha for Wayfinder. So put in your email address. And here's what it looks like on the application homepage. So adaptable on-chain AI agents, and then sign up. And then you cash Prime. So we're going to talk about what that is because they have a TGE coming up, which allows you to get a percentage of the 40% airdrop that's coming.
It's pretty significant.
Yeah. All right, here, welcome to Wayfinder. The community has ratified the vote to initiate the Wayfinder ecosystem and governance, implementing Prime caching and community engagement tools. And here's what that looks like. So once you log in, you get to see this token called Prime. So what is that? All right, moving forward here. So Wayfinder white paper. Let's go back to the beginning. And this goes pretty deep again. So I implore you to drop this into Notebook LM,
Yeah.
get a summary, and ask it some questions to try to understand what's happening here. But there's this very interesting part on page 32 called Wayfinder shells.
Mm-hmm.
And this shell allows a community, a developer to allow the incentivization of a particular action, such as building a metaverse or building a AI trader bot, to be trained on that data through this shell, and then leverage this shell through their AI Wayfinder application to optimize the output of the given functionality they want to leverage.
Yeah, I guess in a sense, it's kind of like crypto's version of what's it called? MPC protocol?
MCP.
Damn it, I always get that wrong.
Model Context Protocol.
Yeah, which explain what that is. That's like Web2's way of essentially giving agents access to interface with any app on the web, right?
Yeah, so it's a standardization communication tool, right? It's sort of like TCP IP in a way, but if you have some sort of application that does something, you could create an MCP server for that thing.
Right.
And then your AI can be connected to that MCP server to access that potential application. But the way you access it is by prompting the AI is like, give me this, do me that, and it will just call that access point to that application to do that function and then return your result.
Yeah, so if it's connected to a suite of apps on the MCP network, then it could just autonomously just kind of like
100%.
reiterate through a bunch of subsequent tasks, and like at the end of the day, it just built a whole fucking whatever.
Yeah,
it did a lot of the useful things for you.
For sure, yeah.
And that's kind of the idea of this, right? It's like aggregate through like the proper incentive mechanisms, like a way for people to distinguish what are optimal pathways towards, like, you know, Web3 optimizations, whether it's like this is the best way to generate yield on this chain, this is the best way to generate yield on this game or whatever, right? And these are submitted and proposed by locking up collateral of tokens. And if you provide like crappy paths,
right,
you get slashed, right? So there's the right incentives are built into this design, but overall it's like this ever expanding like knowledge base for these agents to essentially always have contextual awareness of like what is happening in this space, right? Because from like a human developer's perspective, there's no way we could do this, right? And like feasibly like keep up with the pace of how like expansive crypto is, right? Like all these new chains and like trying to always maintain like we got a bridge there, we got a bridge there.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, we're facing the same problem right now. It's like if we want an AI to kind of build out the metaverse, well, it needs to understand like what tools to use to build out that metaverse. And it could include anything as simple as like Blender to something more complex as like MML. And so you need some sort of mechanism to be able to prompt that AI to let itself make the decision on like, okay, I need Blender, I need to be able to make these 3D models, but I also need to program these 3D models to do what the prompt says, and then just do it themselves and then deploy it into the metaverse. Like all these things need training, right? It needs to know context.
Yeah, it needs not just training, but it needs verifiable, like good training.
Good training, yeah.
Useful training, right? And that's where human beings play a critical role, right? And it's like we are part of this like initiation phase. At some point, I don't think our contributions will matter as much. Like once we kind of like set the AI off onto like onto these paths, at some point it can kind of like, I think, self-manage eventually.
Once it become autonomous, it'll be like, well, we got it from here. We'll create better data than you guys.
Yeah, so thanks for your contributions in the early days. That's why you guys got a ton of these tokens. Hopefully you're all rich and fat.
Right.
And we'll take it from here.
Right.
So it's a sensible approach, right?
Yeah. So earlier we mentioned airdrop, so I'm sure that piqued some interest. So a step-by-step guide on AI Wayfinder, and it says here, first register on the application. This is a referral link. There are tasks included, repost tasks of $10 to like 6 chains, and so if you go through the 6 missions here, the next one is to go to relay link, add bridge sold and bridge sold to Prime on base network, and then register and cache your Prime. So this is the process to actually cache it. And then once you start caching, then you can start earning for that airdrop.
Yeah. So I think this post said, like, it was speculated, like, by the end of March would be the cutoff, but I think it was extended for a couple of weeks. So
okay,
there's still time to partake in this. So, yeah, follow this tweet thread. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, 40% of the supply will be allocated to users that cache Prime. So far, only 15,000 users have cached and requires a minimum of about $8 or basically 2 Prime tokens.
Yeah, so do with that information what you want. That's not financial advice, right? That's what you're supposed to say.
Correct.
Yeah, to cash or not to cash.
That is
whatever,
purely entertainment opportunity there.
Yeah.
All right, so Prime, what is that? Echelon Prime. It has a 186 million market cap, dude.
Yeah, and you might get confused if you like look into this token, right? Because it's like a gaming token.
Yeah.
So like don't get confused
Yeah.
because it is kind of confusing. Like, why is a gaming token like somehow like related to this AI like framework
tool
/ like Omni tool?
Yeah.
Like the fuck, how did that happen? Well, I mean, we're in crypto, and in crypto there's quite a lot of pivoting happening. Right, it happens pretty frequently, especially these days. Like virtuals, I think, is an example. Like they started off as like gaming centric, and they pivoted to AI, did very well for them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other examples of this, but pivoting in crypto is typically the way.
That's how you do it. Yeah.
That's how you make it in this space.
Correct.
Right? So AI is a hot, space for a lot of good reasons. So yeah, starting off with the origins of gaming, and then now, AI has much broader applications and can be much more useful to the space than just a game.
Yeah.
So that's the cool.
Yeah, I can see the progression because you could build this game. It's like, man, everyone's talking about this AI thing. It's like we can actually utilize AI in our game, and it's like, well, there's a lot of problems, so let's just solve those problems. And here comes AI Wayfinder.
Yeah, and it's a good sign of the team itself, right? Because building, like leveraging something like AI for your single use case of like enhancing your game is like, you want to take like a platformatization approach to support like other developers, right? That's always a good thing, right? And there's a lot of devs that could use this, like spin up their own shells, right? They have their own like, contributions to this like system, right?
Yeah. So here's the documentation for Prime if you want to kind of go through that. But let's move on. Let's talk about Futureverse. So big news. We are partnering with Story Protocol to redefine the future of on-chain intellectual property.
Yeah, so we've talked about Futureverse in the past. Big metaverse like project. They were also early AI in the context of the metaverse. But, the reason why Story Protocol is in the news because, like, I'm sure everyone was aware of the Jibblification mania that happened recently.
Correct.
If you're not, I mean, that's pretty shocking. I think everybody like saw this, right?
Yeah, there's a
form or fashion.
Ton of memes as a result of this explosion. I didn't realize people like really like the aesthetics of
anime
Jibbly.
Well, I guess specifically this style of anime.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just like struck a nerve, I guess. It's like people have the ability to just animate.
I feel like they've always had that ability. It's just for some reason it just.
Yeah, I don't know. That's how shit happens, right?
Yeah.
It's just things go viral. It's hard to explain. But yeah, everybly was, Jibblifying their babies, their cats, their dogs, their cars, whatever, right? That was the trend last week.
Yeah, so this style comes from this company called Jibbly Studio Jibbly.
Yeah.
And so the post here by the creator of Story Protocol suggests that they got screwed because so many people were Jibblifying everything,
including ourselves, dude.
Yeah.
So basically shouting at the rooftops like IP infringement, right? Across like the board of humanity.
Right.
Everybody was just, for whatever reason, people were definitely using it in their marketing, like big companies and stuff. It's like, dude, that's fucked.
Yeah.
To the original art studio, right? Like they didn't get no creds. So they're saying, had they had their IP like on chain, specifically on our chain.
Yeah.
Does it have like a figure here or something?
Well, it doesn't have a figure, but it says, imagine if Studio Jibbly were paid 10 cents for every generation in the past day.
Jeez.
Not only would AI remixing be frictionless and open as before, but also the creator would be compensated for the style of being used. This is a win-win, a positive-sum game.
I mean, they would have made a fortune, I would imagine.
At 10 cents, that's pretty expensive.
Seems like a lot. Yeah, that's a little too high. Maybe like at a penny
or
per prompt.
Less. I mean, there's millions of these pictures.
Yeah, there's a lot. So, but I get it. Just this is kind of like the main selling point to story protocol, right? It's like, as AI continues to accelerate, essentially everybody's IP is free game at this point.
Right. And so one of the misconceptions is that they don't enforce IP. And so according to one of the co-founders, they do. With this registration of IP, it comes with this like legal wrapper.
So what happens then?
Yeah, I don't. So of course we're not building an invasive tech, so it's not like they're tracking everything that's happening. However, if the creator wants to enforce, he's got legal grounds to do so.
Yeah, I mean that's I guess so. This kind of like streamlines, I guess, for like an entry level creator who hasn't, I guess, gone through the IP like registry process.
So in this case, that if you're Studio Ghibli and had you gone through Story Protocol and OpenAI just jacked your style, you could, in theory, sue OpenAI. You could.
Well, they're probably like suing them right now as we speak, right?
Potentially, yeah.
So it's kind of like you could just do that anyways.
Right, but
I think
OpenAI didn't have like a path to like licensing. I would imagine. And OpenAI could probably argue is like this isn't actually Studio Ghibli stuff. It's someone else's. It's just the AI just put the two words together and it just happened.
It's literally called Jiblify.
Right, but
that's how it works. You have to tell the fucking ChatGPT to Jiblify things, and it's like, nope, we're not using your IP at all, Studio Ghibli.
Right, but OpenAI could use Ghibli kind of like style, but change it up enough to where it's not the same.
Right.
And then, do they have legal, grounds to like stand at that point?
What a mess this is going to be, actually.
Yeah.
This reminds me of like, like the Napster days, right?
100%, yeah.
Where it's like the music industry was completely like befuddled. How do we handle like people streaming our music,
Yeah.
What do we do about this?
Well, they got sued up to hell.
Exactly. Mega lawsuits incoming, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's still it's a good use case for story, like something building on chain. But yeah, I mean, they have Futureverse, which is a Web3 native like IP, I guess, curator. So it's to be determined whether they attract like some mainstream IP on chain. That would be interesting.
You know what else is interesting? Remember how all the numbers have been going down?
Yeah, I do remember that.
You remember that, right? Yeah, so these numbers haven't been going down like the others.
You mean this token?
This token, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's doing pretty well in the context of like the two of the most bloodiest months we've seen in like
yeah, this is like historic history. Downs, really.
Yeah, this it is, right? This Q1 that just was before us was like record bad.
Yeah.
In crypto.
Yeah, for the last 5 years, this has been the worst.
And apparently, we got another quarter of pain.
Yeah.
Thanks to Liberation Day or something, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Trump.
Thank you, Master Trump, dude. It's good times. Good times. We're having too much fun, I guess.
Yeah.
We had to like slow it down.
Everybody was making too much money, apparently.
Yeah, we need to slow it down, lads.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, here's Story Protocol. They're at $1 billion market cap, which is doing really well compared to everything else. So that's the video for today. If we missed anything in the AI space that we didn't cover today, definitely let us know. And I guess if you find anything else that you want us to talk about, put it in the comment section. We'll take a look at it, and maybe it'll show up in the next video. Other than that, I appreciate you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.